Boom. Welcome to Pin Tumbler Mastery, a fast, step-by-step series where I teach you how to pick pin tumbler locks from the ground up. In short, focused lessons under 4 minutes. By the end of this series, you'll know how to read a lock, choose the right tools, find the first binder, set standard and security pins, defeat anti-pick systems, and troubleshoot real-world problems. What you'll learn in this episode is how pin stacks operate, what the shear line is and why it matters, why tolerance makes picking possible, the concept of binding order. So let's start at the beginning. Here's the blueprint of a pin tumbler lock. Understanding the mechanism of how a lock works is the foundation for all picking techniques. If you understand how the parts interact, picking becomes predictable instead of guesswork. First, let's conduct an overview of the lock anatomy. In a lock, you have the plug, you have the shell, also known as the housing. You have a keyway where the key is inserted into. You have pin chambers in both the plug and the housing, right here. This is also called the magazine. You have springs. You have driver pins. You have key pins. And you have the shear line. And the shear line is where the plug and the housing meet at the key chambers. Now let's discuss the pin stack. Each chamber has one pin stack. And a pin stack consists of a spring, a driver pin, and a key pin. Each of the springs will have uniform tension. Each of the driver pins will be the same dimension. The key pins are what prevent the lock from opening. So each of the key pins are at a different length, as you can see here, which correspond with the different cuts in a key in order to achieve the shear line, which is the break between the driver pin and the key pin at this location right here. So now that we understand the blueprint for a pin tumbler lock, let's talk about what a pin tumbler lock actually is. Okay, it's just a device that keeps a key stack, which is the spring, the driver pin, and the key pin in line in each one of these pin chambers, so that when you put the key in, the key will lift the key pins up to the shear line, allowing it to rotate just like that. And if you look closely, you can see the key pins that were lifted to the shear line, and that's why the key is able to turn the chamber, opening the lock. So why are we able to pick a lock? Okay, during the manufacturing process, the tolerances aren't exact. So when these holes are drilled, they're not drilled in a perfect line. They want them to, but just the manufacturing process doesn't account for that, or doesn't allow that. So one of these holes are going to be out of line from the other ones. So when we put rotational tension on it, and the key pins are bound between the plug and the housing, one of these is going to have tension or resistance, okay? And it has resistance because one of these holes is offset from the other key chambers. And we simply put tension on it to identify that one. Or sorry, we put tension on it with the tension tool in order to bind that pin, and then we insert a pick in order to identify which pin is binding, and then we attack that pin. We'll lift it up until we'll lift that key pin up until the separation between the key pin and the driver pin is at the shear line, which I showed you earlier. Okay, and when it's there, it'll stay there because the plug will rotate just a fraction, not allowing the driver pin to come back down into the plug's chamber. And then you simply move on to the next pin, and you just keep looking for which pin is binding, and you attack that pin, and you just repeat that process over and over until they're all at the shear line and the plug spins. Okay, and with that, that will conclude the fundamentals part 1 of the 9-part series. Part 2 will be pre-pick research, what you do before you even start picking. All right, thank you. Please like and subscribe.